I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend, Daniel, for 5 months now, and I can still remember the day we met as if it happened yesterday. It was at a church youth event where I had been helping organize refreshments, and he was part of the logistics team. At first, I didn't pay him much attention, but he had this calm and kind presence that made it hard not to notice him. When he approached me to ask if I needed help carrying some supplies, his smile was so genuine that I couldn't help but smile back. We ended up talking about everything: our shared love for music, our favorite books, and how much our faith meant to us. It felt like I had known him forever, even though we had just met. From that day on, everything seemed to fall into place naturally. Our conversations were never forced. We could talk about anything for hours, from our dreams for the future to the little things that made us laugh. He was so thoughtful, always asking how my day was and genuinely listening to what I had to say. I felt like I had found someone who truly understood me. When Daniel asked me to be his girlfriend after a few weeks of getting to know each other, I was a little nervous at first. Relationships were a big deal to me, and I didn't want to rush into anything. But looking into his kind eyes, I realized he wasn't just anyone, he was someone special. I said yes, and from that moment, our bond only grew stronger. A few weeks into our relationship, I decided it was time for him to meet my family. My mother and sister are the two most important people in my life, and their opinions mean everything to me. I was anxious about the meeting. What if they didn't like him? What if he didn't make a good impression? But Daniel had nothing to worry about. When I introduced him to my mother and sister one sunny Sunday afternoon, they welcomed him with open arms. My mother immediately liked his respectful and polite manner, while my sister teased me, saying I had finally found someone too good to be true. Their approval gave me a sense of comfort and security. It meant the world to me that they trusted him just as much as I did. At that moment, I felt like my little world was perfect, like everything was exactly as it should be. I couldn't have asked for more. But life is never that simple, and little did I know, this happiness would soon be tested in ways I never imagined. Our relationship grew stronger with each passing day, and spending time with Daniel quickly became the highlight of my week. Whether it was a walk in the park, a quiet afternoon at the local cafe, or simply chatting on the phone for hours, being with him felt so natural and easy. He had this way of making me laugh even on my worst days, and his positivity was contagious. Daniel wasn't just kind, he was also ambitious. He often spoke about his dreams of starting his own business one day and building a future that would make his family proud. Listening to him talk about his goals made me admire him even more. He wasn't just someone who dreamed big, he was someone who worked hard to make those dreams a reality. That determination was inspiring, and it made me believe that he wasn't just thinking about the present, he was also planning for the future. I started to picture us together in the long term. For the first time, I found myself imagining what it would be like to build a life with someone. I believed that this relationship wasn't just a passing phase, it was something real, something meaningful. My family was equally supportive. My mother would often smile and tell me how lucky I was to find someone so respectful and driven. My sister, always the playful one, would tease me about how I had finally found my Prince Charming. Their encouragement meant everything to me. It reassured me that I was on the right path, and it gave me the confidence to invest my heart into this relationship even more. Being with Daniel felt like having the perfect balance in life. He was my biggest cheerleader, always encouraging me to chase my dreams, just as he chased his. In him, I found a partner, a friend, and someone I could trust deeply. I believed with all my heart that what we had was special. But life is full of unexpected turns. Just when I thought everything was going smoothly, challenges began to arise, ones I never saw coming. As much as I loved and trusted Daniel, I would soon be faced with decisions that tested the very foundation of our relationship. One quiet evening, Daniel and I were sitting together in his living room, talking as we always did. The room was warm and inviting, with soft music playing in the background. I loved moments like this, simple and peaceful. It felt like we could share anything with each other, no matter how big or small. As we talked about our plans for the weekend and laughed over a silly joke he had made, his expression suddenly grew serious. I could tell he had something on his mind. "There's something I've been thinking about," he said, his tone calm but deliberate. I nodded, encouraging him to continue. What is it? I asked, trying to hide the nervous flutter in my stomach. He hesitated for a moment, then looked me in the eye. I think we should take our relationship to the next level, he said, his voice steady. I think we should be more intimate with each other. You know, share more moments together, even on a deeper level. At first, I wasn't sure if I had heard him correctly. My heart skipped a beat, and my mind raced. I understood what he meant, but the suggestion caught me completely off guard. This wasn't something we had discussed before, and I had always assumed he knew how I felt about such matters. I paused, searching for the right words. Daniel, I began softly, I care about you deeply, and I love how close we've become. But you know how important my beliefs are to me. I've always wanted to wait until marriage for that kind of step. He nodded, though I could sense a flicker of disappointment in his eyes. I understand, he said slowly, but I feel like it could bring us even closer. It's not just about the physical side, it's about connecting on every level. His words hung in the air, and I didn't know how to respond. A part of me appreciated his honesty and the trust he placed in me by sharing his feelings. But another part of me felt conflicted. My values were a core part of who I was, and I wasn't ready to compromise them, not even for someone I cared about as much as Daniel. I just need more time, I finally said, my voice steady but gentle. It's not that I don't care about you, because I do. But this is something I'm not ready for yet. He gave a small smile and reached for my hand. I respect that, he said, though his eyes hinted at a mix of understanding and frustration. That evening stayed with me long after I left his house. It was the first time I felt the weight of a difficult decision in our relationship. As much as I wanted us to grow closer, I knew I couldn't rush into something I wasn't ready for. Only time would tell how this conversation would shape our journey together. I gently told him no, hoping that my words would reassure him of my feelings and help him understand my perspective. But the requests didn't stop. They came again, sometimes in quiet moments when we were alone, and sometimes in casual conversations that felt a bit too serious for the moment. I could see the frustration building in his eyes, even when he tried to hide it. It was as if he couldn't understand why I kept saying no when he believed our love was strong enough to take the next step. Each time he brought it up, I felt a wave of conflicting emotions. I wasn't angry with him, I loved him deeply. But with every conversation about intimacy, I found myself feeling more confused. Why couldn't he just wait? Why did this one thing seem so important to him? I knew he wasn't trying to hurt me, his feelings were genuine, and his intentions were rooted in his love for me. Yet, I couldn't help but feel that we were standing on opposite sides of an invisible wall, one I wasn't ready to break down. One evening, he tried something different. He didn't just ask, he attempted to seduce me. We were sitting on the couch at his place, the lights dimmed and a soft, romantic tune playing in the background. He leaned closer, his hand brushing mine, his voice low and gentle as he whispered words meant to weaken my resolve. For a moment, I felt the pull. He was charming, and the love I felt for him made it tempting to give in. But then, a voice in the back of my mind reminded me of my values and the promises I had made to myself. I wanted to save that part of me for a time when we were fully committed, for a marriage built on trust and respect. My legs remained firmly closed. I gently pushed him away, my voice steady but kind. Daniel, I've told you before. I'm not ready for this, and I need you to understand that. It doesn't mean I love you any less, it's just something that's very important to me. He sighed, his frustration evident, but he didn't press further. Instead, he sat back, his expression a mix of disappointment and understanding. I wasn't angry with him, I knew this wasn't easy for him either. Love wasn't always simple, and in that moment, I realized just how much patience and understanding it required. Though I wished he could see things the way I did, I held on to the hope that if our love was truly strong, it would survive this. After all, love wasn't just about giving in, it was about standing by each other, even when it was hard. And in my heart, I believed we could get through this together. One day, during a quiet and heartfelt conversation with my sister and mother, Daniel opened up to them about something that had been troubling him. I was sitting with them in the living room when he began to speak. His words were careful, almost hesitant, as he explained how much he cared for me but felt a sense of distance because I wasn't allowing him to express his love in the way he desired. I sat there, listening quietly, my heart pounding in my chest. I wasn't angry or upset, just caught off guard. I had always seen Daniel as someone who understood and respected my values, but hearing him share his concerns so openly with my family left me feeling vulnerable. What I didn't expect was my sister and mother's reaction. Instead of immediately agreeing with my stance, they took a different approach. My sister, always the voice of practicality, nodded thoughtfully. "Relationships are about trust and balance," she said. "Sometimes, when you love someone, you have to meet them halfway." My mother, who usually supported my decisions wholeheartedly, chimed in as well. "You know, love does involve sacrifices," she said gently. "It's not always easy, but sometimes you have to ask yourself what's more important, sticking to every boundary or showing your partner that you trust them deeply." Their words caught me off guard. I had been so sure of my decision, so confident in my beliefs, that I hadn't considered the possibility of compromise. They weren't forcing me or pressuring me, but their perspectives planted a seed of doubt in my mind. "If you truly love him," my sister continued, "maybe it's worth thinking about. Not because you're being forced, but because love sometimes requires leaps of faith." I felt overwhelmed. On one hand, I wanted to stay true to myself, to the values I had held onto for so long. But on the other hand, I couldn't ignore the reasoning they were presenting. They weren't trying to change me, they were simply offering a perspective I hadn't considered. Later that night, I found myself reflecting on the conversation. Their words lingered in my mind, swirling with my own thoughts and feelings. Was I being too rigid? Was I holding on to something that could be adjusted without losing who I was? I didn't have the answers, but I knew one thing: I needed to make a decision that felt right, not just for Daniel, but for myself as well. After much reflection and internal conflict, I finally made a decision that would change the course of my relationship. One quiet evening, as Daniel and I sat together in the cozy warmth of his living room, I opened my heart to him. I explained my fears, my values, and the weight of the decision I was about to make. His face softened as he listened intently, his eyes filled with both love and relief. "I've thought a lot about us," I said softly. "I want to take this step with you, not because I feel pressured, but because I trust you and believe in our future together." His smile was gentle, and he held my hands as if they were the most precious thing in the world. "Thank you for trusting me," he whispered. "I promise I'll never take that trust for granted." That night, something shifted between us, a new level of closeness we had never experienced before. It wasn't just about crossing a boundary or fulfilling a desire, it was a moment of vulnerability, where we allowed ourselves to be seen completely for who we were. The room was quiet except for the soft murmurs of our conversation, and every word we exchanged felt like a bridge bringing us closer together. As we embraced this new chapter, I found myself letting go of the fears and doubts that had held me back. I wasn't just giving something to Daniel, I was sharing a part of myself willingly, with trust and love guiding me. His gentle reassurance, the way he prioritized my comfort and happiness, made me feel safe. To my surprise, the moment was not just about him, it was about us. I realized that love is a two-way street, a balance of giving and receiving, understanding and patience. As we shared those tender moments, I felt a kind of joy I hadn't anticipated. It wasn't about losing something, but about gaining a deeper connection that made me feel even closer to him. What stood out most was the way he looked at me afterward. There was no arrogance or smugness, just pure affection and gratitude. He held my hand tightly and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me. I'll never forget this moment." That night taught me more about love than I had ever known. Love isn't just about saying the right words or making grand gestures, it's about building trust, being vulnerable, and taking steps forward together, no matter how uncertain they may seem. As I lay beside him, I couldn't help but smile. I felt a sense of peace knowing that we had crossed this milestone in our relationship with mutual respect and understanding. It wasn't just a physical experience, it was an emotional journey that brought us closer than ever. In that moment, I realized that love is about partnership, about lifting each other up and walking through life hand in hand. I felt grateful for what we had, and even more excited for what lay ahead. What followed was a journey of self-discovery. I learned so much about myself, my boundaries, my needs, and my capacity to trust. Daniel, true to his word, showed me that a healthy relationship isn't about coercion or pressure. It's about mutual respect, patience, and care. The months that followed were some of the happiest of my life. Our bond grew stronger as we navigated challenges and celebrated milestones together. Daniel became more attentive, always ensuring I felt valued and loved. I, in turn, learned to open up more, to communicate my feelings, and to embrace the idea of compromise without losing myself. Then, one sunny afternoon, as we were walking through the park where we had shared so many memories, Daniel surprised me. He stopped abruptly, reached into his pocket, and pulled out a small box. "I've been thinking about this for a long time," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "You've shown me what love truly means, and I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" Tears filled my eyes as I looked at the man who had been my partner, my confidant, and my greatest source of joy. Without hesitation, I said yes. 8 months after our first steps toward deeper trust, we were engaged. Our journey hadn't been perfect, but it had been ours, and that made it beautiful.